I didn't think there's extra stuff left to do.
Oh, there's plenty now.
Fire escape.
Oh, yeah.
At this time, we're going to open this meeting. It is for the public to come and make comments and ask questions. We welcome all of you here, and we're glad that you came. So, well, we'll just take, since we don't, we can just take it by turn. I'll let everyone raise their hand if you want to come forward and speak. So at this time, do we have anyone from the public that wants to come forward? Okay. Wanda Malin, you're recognized.
I just wanted to come and say thank you for all y'all done, because I know you do have a hard job and I appreciate it. And I know we've got to start somewhere. So for me and the four of us that are here tonight, we support this. We just want to let y'all know, and we thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda. Anyone else? We've got plenty of time, so at this time, we will just kind of sit here and wait and see if maybe someone else will come in that is running a little bit late and would like to say something. That's all we can do since there's no one else here.
Chairman, point of information, I have a statement to make. Would that statement better be made at this meeting or the next meeting? Which would be your preference?
At the county commission meeting, you'll have your chance to talk. This is for the public only. Mm-hmm. Is my mic on? We're winding down the public forum. We've got 10 minutes. Has anyone else come in that would like to speak? Or has anybody changed their mind that would like to speak? If not, you've got 10 minutes, and then we'll start the regular county commission meeting at 6. I don't see anybody. Charlie gonna be clearing Barry Hall.
Sally, she don't keep people out like she used to. All right. Benton County Commission is now in session for open and board chair.
Mr. Charlie Cooper will give our invocation tonight.
Let us pray. Father God, we just thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to come together tonight to do your will, Lord, to do the people's will, Lord. And we just pray that you lead, God, direct each and every vote, each and every mind here tonight, Father God. Let your will be accomplished, Lord. Let everything that's done here tonight be pleasing to you, Father. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Commissioner Barry Holland will lead us in the pledge.
Attention, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Stephen Stowe. Diane Hall. Mark Lashley.
I'm here.
Gary Carr.
I'm here.
Dwight Ballard.
Here.
Jerry Price.
Here.
Jeff Markey.
Here.
Were your tablets not working? You just didn't press the present.
Remote.
Okay.
I got mine.
Next on the agenda is to approve the agenda. I need a motion. Motion by Commissioner Melton and a second by Commissioner Fowler. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any not in favor? Number 1 is resolution making appropriations for the various funds, departments, institutions, offices, and agencies of Benton County, Tennessee for the year beginning July 1, 2024 and ending June 30, 2025. I need a motion to bring this to the floor. I have a motion by Commissioner Nunley and a second by Commissioner Melton. The floor is open for discussion. Yes, Mayor Ward, you're recognized.
I just wanted to take this time to thank everybody for coming to this special called meeting. I know it's putting you out, but I appreciate you being dedicated to come tonight. The other thing is I wanted to thank the Budget Committee. I know they've worked for the last 3 months diligently to come up with a fair budget, and I think, me personally, I would sign off on this. I think it's a great budget. I think it's better than any we've had in a long time. And the other thing I want to touch on, because I know some other people are going to, is the sheriff's funding. I think everyone's happy with everything in the budget. The sheriff's expressed some concern, so I just wanted to say that when I took office a little over 2 years ago, the sheriff's budget in the jail was $3.8 million, just under. Last year we bumped it up to $4.2 million. The Budget Committee and the Commission did. And this year in this budget that you're voting on tonight is $4.9 million. So we are, and I'm all in favor of it. trying to help the sheriff all we can, get him up there where he needs to be. But you can't do it all at once. But I think that what we did last year, giving them $2.50 an hour raise, the county employees at the courthouse didn't get any raise. So we're trying to make that happen this year with this budget. And then next year we can revisit and see where we're at. But I just think that y'all have done a great job, and I appreciate everybody that will vote for this tonight. Thank you.
Anyone else? Commissioner Preston?
Consideration for cost of living increase for the sheriff's department and the jail employees was never on the table with the budget. I'm certain it was April the 16th when law enforcement asked budget for a 2% cost of living increase. And the response was from the chair, and his response was no raise this year. It was decided without debate from any person present, anybody else on budget, no cost of living increase. The chair also stated the lawsuit settlement last year was enough. And I remind everybody the lawsuit settlement was $1. Some of you commissioners at one time or another have been told, tune Rocky out, his numbers are wrong. That's okay. Be that person. Be the person that obeys without question. Be that submissive person, quick to comply. While we suck the optimism out of our law enforcement workers' hopes for a future here in Benton County, you could have been, or you could have been, held assumptions and make informed judgment. Budget is led by a man, and we all like him a lot. We truly do. But he has a hard time sometimes of seeing other points of view. Sometimes he has trouble seeing flaws in his own thinking. Let me ask all you commissioners not on budget, how many of y'all were asked, what's important to you? What's important in this budget to you? The answer is none, nobody. I'm certain outside this public meeting, the sheriff department and jails, no cost of living increase was decided. Is this a reprimand for the sheriff's lawsuit? If so, it affects about 75 hard, brave working men and women. Talking to Henderson County Chief Deputy Larry Stigall, a 3% across the board cost of living increase, jail and sheriff. Last year, also Henderson County, I remind everybody, they had a lawsuit also, such as ours. The first budget after their lawsuit, they received $1.50 an hour raise. Henry County, 5% across the board for jail and deputies is looking real good. Carroll County, 4%. Humphreys County, 4%. Jail and sheriff. Decatur County, little old Decatur County, just south of us with a smaller tax base than we got, a 6% cost of living increase. And Benton County, 0. A 0% cost of living increase. I'm going to say it one more time. 0. Stewart County, 3%. Chairperson tells the budget members, let's shore up debt service. Moving $600,000 from the general fund to the debt service. I say let's shore up law enforcement. Instead of building up the fund balances, the general fund balance is budget reflects it $14.2 million. The schools is $13.1 million. Debt service is $3.2 million. Let's build up law enforcement. Most of us commissioners are privileged with better than average incomes. It's our civic responsibility to take action that creates a better Benton County law enforcement society. Should Benton County have a bad event not responded to properly because of the lack of law enforcement, whose hand is the blood going to be on? I'm finishing up. I got some comparisons I'm going to make of my own here. 2014, these are audited numbers, and I'm using the actual estimated numbers, from 2025 budget. The sheriff's department has grew 64%. That's in 11 years. The jail, The jail's grown a little less, 61% in the same 11 years, 2014, 2025. To me, 61, 64, that could be kind of large a number. But you make some comparisons. I'm going to compare that to the mayor's office. The mayor's office budget in 2014, and this is no reflection to you, Mayor Ward. You've only.
I understand that, but you also.
Chairman, please, I have the floor. Do you mind waiting? The mayor's office in those same 11 years, 300% growth. $161,000 to $472,000. Let's compare it to the animal shelter. 250% growth.
You have 1 minute, Mr. Preston, unless someone wants to give you their.
Have you got something more important to talk about?
Well, we're going by the rules, and the rules say you have 5 minutes.
Mayor,
I'm giving you another
budget,
2 more minutes.
Chair, you could be the knight in shining armor. You could be the person admired in this community, a community icon, by building up our county's law enforcement. I just don't understand why you're against better protecting our county when we do have the dollars. I yield the floor.
May I speak?
Yes, you may. Mayor is recognized.
Rocky, I just wanted to correct you on one thing on the 300% increase. We run the grants for the sheriff's department, for the airport, and everything else through the budget in the mayor's office. So you're not really reflecting the cost of what's running the office when you don't subtract those out. I'm just saying that's not a true comparison of what it was then or what it is now.
The floor is open. Any other commissioner?
I got one. I rise to make a motion to amend this budget to include for both the sheriff department and the jail 4% cost of living increase. And I beg when you commissioners to second my motion. I'll second.
Before the motion is seconded, we operate under the Private Acts of 1939. And in those private acts, it states that there can be no amendments tonight. The meeting tonight is to approve the budget or not to approve the budget. It does not allow for amendments on the floor.
Chairman,
tonight.
I'm not able to find anything in the private act that says we can't amend.
Right here.
Okay. I'm going to trust you on that.
You can ask the county attorney.
Can I ask a question about the private act? I'm looking at page 2, and Lori might best answer this question. Said budget committee shall consist of not more than 5 members who shall be elected by the quarterly county court. That's us, the commission. And it goes on breaking down how and when they're elected. Are we cherry picking the private act, or would that not apply to this budget committee?
I don't have that paper in front of me.
I've got mine, if you'd like to look at it. It's highlighted in yellow at the bottom. Ms. Brasher, Ms. Brasher, you may not know this. The instructions in the private act is that the budget committee is elected. You may not know they're appointed. This committee's been appointed.
Well, that's not what it says in section 2 of the private act. The budget committee shall consist of not more than 5 members who shall be appointed by the chairman and confirmed by the county legislative body. It's the very first sentence in section 2.
In this paper, it's also talking about quarterly court, and we are not quarterly court anymore.
You may be reading the original private act. It
That's
was superseded. But yeah, if you look at section 2 of your private act, it says that exactly the sentence I just read. The budget committee shall consist of not more than 5 members who shall be appointed by the chairman and confirmed by the county legislative body.
Thank you for that explanation.
Rocky, I will say that after tonight's meeting, if this budget is approved, after that, it is sent to the comptroller's office to be certified. And when we receive that certification back, then you can make amendments to this budget.
Thank you for that information.
Anyone else?
I have a question, Ryan.
Okay.
What does a 4% or 6% cost of living raise for those departments cost? What's the net effect to it?
Are you asking me what 4% would cost? Ms. Brasher would have to answer that question for me.
I don't have that annually available. I have to run calculations because you've got benefits that go along with that, Social Security, Medicare, and pensions.
But just say a 4% cost of living, raise for those two departments, extrapolated out with all the attachments of taxes and deductions, things like that. You don't have an idea what that would be?
I
Either one
can
of
give you a rough idea.
Based on the.
Just round number, just,
Yeah, like I said, I'm trying to calculate some rough one.
Is that based on what the pay is now in the last 2 years that we went up?
Two percent of 189.
so that's like 370 something. Total for
A 4% increase would, do you want that in what would be in property tax values? Or in dollars or both?
Dollars.
Okay, in dollars, it's going to run you $228,000.
what we're talking about.
So you're talking about 8%. Yeah, you're talking about run at 8 cents property tax increase.
We're talking about numbers of percentage, but that's not a dollar figure to us. We're trying to look at the bottom line. So.
And we just got the dollar figure you were looking for, and it was smaller than I expected. I remind you commissioners that the budget committee moved $600,000, take a few dollars, from the general fund for the debt service. And that's the money it could use. I mentioned to y'all at the last meeting a method of going through the school to get that money. There's two options you have. I'm going to say every side now.
On those figures, Mr. Brasher, was that the positions he's got filled, or was that positions he's allowed to fill?
That's positions he has filled.
So he's got positions he had filled, that could increase.
Correct. And I do want to say that the transfer to debt service, Mr. Rock, is actually $485,000.
Say that again.
From general fund to debt service is $485,000.
Is that after we move? Is that after we move two portions of that money to two other accounts?
There's only one transfer out of the general fund. There's a transfer into it, and there's a transfer out of it, and the only transfer out of it is $485,000 to debt service.
I stand corrected. We also moved 4 cents, didn't we? From general fund to debt service.
Not that I'm aware of.
We did. We moved.
I have to go back and look. Yes, we did.
Thank you. That's approximately $100,000. I'm going to ask the commission to greatly consider voting this budget down. Don't be scared of the private act. Let's don't let the private act fear us into believing we have to pass this budget. 18 of us want to sit down and talk about a budget. Sit down and talk about a budget. We can do just as good a job as the budget committee's done. Lori, if this budget fails tonight, are you going to remain with the county?
I will be glad to help the county. There would be a surcharge because my original agreement, my original contract is to get it up through a proposed budget by the budget committee.
Thank you. Phil, are you going to help? Are you going to remain involved? Or is it,
Rocky, why don't we take a vote before we get into worrying about all this other stuff? I believe it's my time to speak now. Is that correct, Roseanne? Okay. I do not want to get into a back and forth with the commissioner, but as we just saw, his numbers that he quoted were wrong. There were 4 cents, I believe it was, moved back from general into debt service. And the reason for that was we still have 4 years left on paying for the original 2015 purchase of sheriff's cars. That runs about $116,000 to $118,000 a year. We moved that back to help take care of it. We had moved it a couple of years ago because debt service was in pretty good shape. We moved it into general fund because general fund was needing some extra funds. So that's the reason why that was done. Now the 2% cost of living raise is actually not a 2% cost of living raise. Because using the sheriff's department's own figures, there's an investigator that would receive 10.5%, a deputy that would receive 13.7%, a deputy that would receive 6.7%, warrant clerk who would receive 12.6%, a dispatcher receiving 10.3%, and other percentages in between 2% and those I've mentioned. So it was not as advertised. It was misrepresented as a 2% cost of living raise, and that is not what it is. The budget we have has no tax increase. It's a good budget. It needs to be passed. That's all I have.
Commissioner
The
Fowler?
only thing I have is Benton County, I always say, Benton County has only 15,660 people. If I'm understanding right, we're paying almost the same, close to, as what Henry County has got 37,000 people as far as property. We're paying more than Decatur County, that's a little bit around our population. You know, we're going to keep putting a tax burden. How many people are you short right now as far as for work? Your budget is for all of that. I mean, I know you've lost people for different reasons and stuff, but, and I know you pushed aside, we got a lot of roads in Benton County. We look like a boot. But a lot of those roads, I don't know if you see, I mean, it's just hard to put all this off on a taxpayer, but on 15,000 people who are cutting on property tax and trying to keep up with the Joneses. And I know everybody deserves some raises, but if he's right, we went from 3 what to 4 what now? $1 million?
Went from 3.8 to $4.9 million.
And that's a lot of money.
Yep.
Now, he says that it only costs $1 for the law, for the attorney fees. Is that true? $1?
No, that's not true.
All right, so how much?
I don't know where he got his
And
dollar at.
that shouldn't affect employees and things of that nature. But it just seems hard to do. Keep giving that and put it all on the property.
It was around 400,000 on the lawsuit total, counting everything. I
And
believe
that shouldn't
real
be judged against the sheriff's department. I mean, he won that, and that's, that shouldn't be judged against the employees and things of that nature. But anyway, that's all. I just don't want to keep comparing us to Henry County, Humphreys County, in places that has a lot more large population. That's just it.
Commissioner Bain, to recognize.
I just want to make a very brief statement. I've already said it at budget. The thing that I don't like about this budget is the deal that was made with the keeping of state prisoners to buy cars for the sheriff's department that the county should supply without him having, even if he didn't have any state prisoners at all, the county should be supplying cars. It shouldn't have to be earned by the sheriff's department through keeping state prisoners. That's just one of the things that I don't like about it, but that's the main one. I'm done.
Commissioner Arnold.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I always hate to come up behind Rocky because he's so much better dressed. But Rocky does a lot of searching in what he does, and I commend him for doing it. I commend the budget committee for the hard work that they're doing. It's not an easy job for anybody. There's some stuff in this budget I don't like, and I've expressed that concern. First of all, I think that everybody should have a raise. I mean, we've got good employees. I consider most of them all my friends. I hope they may tell me I'm not. I don't know after I get done talking. But the things that bothers me in that budget, I see some elected officials. If any of the elected officials put a raise in y'all budget that y'all request, how much did you put in? Got one that put 5%, one that says you put 0. You put 5. The sheriff, you put some money in your budget for a raise. You wanted 2%. So, you got some that, we are not elected to run these offices. We're the purse strings. We hold the money. We allocate the money to these office holders. I mean, and the office holders are making good money. They're making up to $80,000 to $90,000 to run these offices. We should give them the money in their budget. If they ask for a raise, we should say, yeah, we're going to give you a raise, or no, we're not going to give you a raise. and they should be able to pay their employees based on their experience. Now, what's in this budget I don't like is, quote, we're trying to make everybody equal in the courthouse. Everybody's not equal. Everybody's jobs, titles different. Everybody's responsibilities are different. And I don't think that, the budget committee or the mayors or whoever, put this in the budget where we want to have a starting salary of X amount of dollars for an employee to come in. It's not based on experience. You got somebody's got some experience working in an office that comes and applies for a job. You're going to start them off at the same thing as somebody who walks up there and gets a job. Experience matters. You may have somebody in your office that's got more experience. You want to pay them more. That's what the mayor's able to do in his office. Sonia, Beverly, Wanda, all of us should be able to say, okay, you're going to make this much. You got a probationary period, then you're going to go up to this much. That's in their budget. I'm not elected to run it. I got to think about Oliver North's trial and Ryan Contra. That little lawyer sit there and said, well, I'm not no potted plant. I need to be heard. Well, I hate to sit here like a potted plant and not say that. Somebody said, well, you're going to make all the employees mad. That's not my intention to make them mad. I'm here thinking about in this raise that they've got put in here, there's going to be some $5,000 to $7,000 increases. I'm sure they deserve it, but you got people in our district that ain't getting a $5,000 raise. They're getting a 3% cost of living raise, and Bidenomics is getting a 7% inflation. Everybody's going in the hole. That's my biggest concern is we're all not equal. Rocky's a better dresser name. I'm sorry, but we're not equal. And I think those office holders should be the ones that brings us a budget. They should have the ability, they're elected to run that office, to say, this is what my pay scale is in my office. If Wanda's is different than Sonia's, and Beverly's is different than Sam, so be it. If you're working in different departments, you can't go into a construction job and say, I'm concerned about the budget. The sheriff department, what's your top out, Sheriff, for deputy? I want a yearly salary. Yearly. I can't add that up. I don't know what. 45,000, 50,000, 35,000, 38.
21, just over $21.
Yeah, okay, so what would that be, Mr. Bradford? You got a budget? We're paying less in the city of Brewston for start off for deputies. They're $50,000 with Brewston and go to work in Brewston, Tennessee. Our people don't pop out there. Yes, it takes a lot of area to cover from Lick Creek and Danville all the way up to the south end of the county. You get you a scanner and you listen to them run all night long. And they got long time, and time needs lives to save lives. If we would have negotiated with the sheriff, maybe we would have spent that $400,000 on the lawsuit. Maybe we'd have been able to put that money in our employees' pocket. The sheriff's department should have put it in the attorney's pocket. So that's my only concern. Yes, sir.
Pop out on a deputy, 45,000.
45,000, 5,000 less than Brewster, 6 miles, 7 miles away.
Yes, the mayor would like to respond.
Hey, you wasn't here for the public hearing on this budget, to hear what the public had to say, but the officials in the courthouse all said that they was happy with the plan that's in this budget, and they would request that y'all vote for it.
I'm sure they would be, because if there's any heat, you're not going to land in their life.
I just wanted to tell you that.
Okay.
May I ask you, what is do you know the actual population of Brisbane?
No. I know they.
A lot less than us.
It's a lot less.
But do they work off the Huntington, or they get paid by the city, or
they get paid by the city? You got the city of Brewston. You got Hollow Rock's got their own department.
How much do we pay the city? How much do they pay the officer down at Big Sandy? How much is he getting paid? Hold up, that's what I want to hear. So what's he getting paid? Ain't that about 50-something thousand there? I'm not sure. I'm asking a question. Yeah, so how come we can't incorporate some of this traveling and use that? Is this county taxpayer monies for that job?
City of Big Sandy is operated.
It's not like we got a Big Sandy to Brewster thing, something like that going on in our own town already too. It sounds like we've got a Brewston thing in Big Sandy too. If they're 50,000, if they're making 50,000 at Big Sandy, we're only making 45 here. That ain't. I agree with you. That ain't fair.
Well, I just think that, if anybody gets a scanner and listens to it, I don't sleep much, I listen to mine.
Let's stay on topic of the budget, please, let's try to stay on topic
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
of the
Well, I'm
budget.
just saying, we got 50,000 to be saying, correct? Correct? At least. Okay, good deal.
Okay,
It's a small population.
there were some figures quoted by, Mr. Presson, and I'm going to recognize Mr. Florence to come up. He would like to discuss the school's fund balance with us.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm not going to take long, but thank you all commissioners and budget committee. And this really has nothing to do with the budget, but I did want to address, I apologize for not coming last Monday, but if you go to the audit report, it was brought up that the schools had 13 million in fund balance. I wish we did. Now, if you look at the audit and you understand what you're looking at, it says unassigned fund balance, and this was when we ended in June 30th of last year. And it's clear on that page, exhibit I-2, page 2, that the unassigned fund balance is $9.3 million. But if you go to the side, it says federal projects, which is $200,000, which is money that's the federal government. We have no control over. That's rollover that we have every year. And then if you go over to the other governmental funds, that's the cafeteria funds, which is also comes in from the federal government. A lot of extra from ESSER. We have to, by law, have 3 months of operating expenses with the cafeteria. So there's nothing that we can use of those funds. So the 13 million, that's what that says in the audit, but we don't have access to that. That's not our fund balance. We have used 300,000 out of fund balance this year for capital projects and a couple positions that we've lost from ESSER. We also have 2.7 million of that fund balance that are loans for capital projects. So if you do the math, that carries you down to a little north of 6 million. We also have 2 million out of fund balance to balance our budget with this. So now you're a little north of, we'll probably put a little bit back in. I tell the board, and I'll tell you as a commission, it's a $25 million budget. If we spend all of it, they should fire me the day after we do that. And so we've also approved last week to take 1.7 out of fund balance to pay for a new roof at Briarwood School. If we didn't have that fund balance, I would be up here on behalf of the board asking you to do that. So when this budget passes and we take the 1.7 out for the Briarwood roof minus the loan, we're going to have right around $4 million that we have access to. Now, I don't know about you, but with a $25 million budget, I would hope I had a whole lot more than that in savings at my house for a year. So I just wanted the commission to know that you can look at the audit. Ms. Brasher can tell you, you can look in it, but to say the schools has access to those funds is totally just misleading. I don't know any other way to say it. And so I just wanted to make sure the commission has nothing to do with the budget. But I do think you need to know, and I met with the board. We had a budget committee last week, and I wanted them to understand that if you look at the audit and don't understand it, but when you add those others, and then you need to understand what's in there. So my predecessor and our team, I think, has done a great job of managing. Sales tax has been good. We could spend it all, but we hadn't asked, to my knowledge. I've been director 11 years, and I worked for the other director for 13. And to my knowledge, I don't think the school board's ever asked for anything. Now, I have one job, and that's director of schools. I'm not discussing anybody else's budget. I have enough trouble handling the schools, and I totally agree that everybody should get more. But I did think it was important. I was not planning to speak, but since the fund balance was brought up, I thought that you needed to hear that as a commission. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them, or I'll be glad to come back. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone that hasn't spoke? Commissioner Price.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I think all of you know, the commissioners, I've had this discussion before. You know what my background is? It is law enforcement and emergency services. I just want to say, to set the record straight on three of the items, we did not give the sheriff in the last raise a $2.50 raise. Rocky, you were right. There was a $1 adjustment in wages, and that was through the mediation from the lawsuit. Is that correct, Sheriff? Okay. As far as populated counties and us comparing, Sheriff Kevin Sugg right over here in Houston County, half of our population, 8,100 people roughly, $25 an hour. That's where they're topping out. I just talked. I don't know. I don't know. He has no openings though. I know that. I just talked to Sheriff Frankie Gray, Stewart County. They're topping out at $22 an hour. They just got a 3% cost of living increase. So I understand, Madam Chairman, how that has to be handled. I appreciate that. So I do think we should go back and visit that after it gets approved. But we've all been touched. Every single one of us has been touched at some point in our lives by an event that was not pleasant. And a lot of them get real personal. It does. It hurts. It hurts when you lose a loved one, a good close friend. They're here today. We had a good conversation at lunch. But this afternoon, guess what happens? Two folks messed up on drugs boldly come and kick your door in. And they come in and they take what's yours. And they don't care about you, your family. They don't care about our schools. They don't care about anybody in this room because they are selfish. And that selfishness, you got to combat it. And in order to combat it, we have to have strong law enforcement. It's a must. Because without it, without good, strong law enforcement, getting these officers what they need, and Mr. Mayor, I do thank everybody here for what has been given. But if we don't have strong law enforcement and the correct amount of folks to cover this county for us, we're all under that threat every day. It's going to happen somewhere. It's happened in the last few minutes. Somewhere probably pretty close to us. Yes, Keith is right. Listen to that scanner if you got one. It's constant. One thing after another, after another, after another. Please just think about it. And what are our priorities? Absolutely, the citizens of this county, especially our children, are the priorities. I've got grown kids, I've got grandkids, I've got great-grandkids. I don't want them to suffer what some of our citizens have to suffer in this county. We have to have strong law enforcement. Without it, we don't get the luxury of having the rest of it. Our school system, number one, that's where we got to protect these folks. We got SROs in these schools. That's a huge task. Think about it. Whenever we need them, how far away are they? I yield the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Before we move on to a vote. Commissioner Preston.
Thank you, Chairman. The subject is debt service. I'm looking at the fourth draft. The fifth draft, I hadn't seen it. That don't mean the numbers change. I'm looking at total revenues received or going into debt service. A little over $1,167,000. Page 74 on the fourth draft. I turn it over to page 75. We've got, the county has 5 loans that we're paying out. Pay 2 payments a year on each, with interest and principal. All 5 of them total a little over $979,000. Turn the page over, looking at page 76. I'm looking at total revenue
under expenditure. The fourth graph shows debt service being budgeted $537,148 greater than the cost on the 5 loans. Move up, just a line above that, at the very top of page 76, operating transfers. It says on the fourth draft, $500,000 from Fund 101. Well, Fund 101 is the general fund. It goes on further to say that $50,000 of that is going to Fund 189 and $100,000 to Fund 172. So they have moved, you can either call it $500,000 or $350,000 from the general fund to the debt service. They give it an overfunded budget, $537,000 a little better. Shrinking the general fund money. Frank, there's your money right there. There is your $280,000 to give a 4% cost of living increase. Vote this budget down and let the new budget committee move that money back to the general fund. Presto. A 4% raise is paid for. Thank y'all. I'm going to yield the floor. One more point. The lawsuit. 5 of us voted no to last year's budget. It was very obvious for anybody that didn't have their head in the sand that there's going to be a lawsuit. We were reminded very often. 5 of us, sure enough, that the money given for the raises to the sheriff and the jailers was not enough. We voted no. It is, in my opinion, anybody that voted for last year's budget should share the responsibility for the cost of the lawsuit. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you, Chair.
Anyone else? Okay, seems like no one else wants to make any comments, so we're going to move forward and vote on Resolution 1, which is the resolution making appropriations for the various funds, departments, institutions, offices, and agencies of Benton County.
Gary Price,
No.
Jeff Murphy,
Yes.
anyone wish to change your vote? Passes majority is 11 yes and 5 no, 2 absent.
Okay, we'll move on to resolution number 2.
Chairman,
yes.
Order. Does this not require a 2/3 vote?
No, it does not. Simple majority. Number 2 is a resolution fixing the tax levy in Benton County, Tennessee for the year beginning July 1, 2024 at 2.7274. Need a motion to bring that to the floor. We have one by Commissioner Melton and a second by Commissioner Miller. The floor is open. If anyone would like to speak on this resolution 2? Okay. I see none, so everyone please vote.
Gary Price,
Yes.
Jeff Murphy,
Yes.
anyone wish to change your vote? Motion passed 16 yes, 2 absent.
Okay, motion carries. Resolution 3 is a resolution making appropriation to nonprofit charitable organizations of Benton County, Tennessee for the year beginning July 1, 2024 and ending June 30, 2025. I have a motion by Commissioner Melton and a second by Commissioner Nunley. Any questions or discussion or comments? I see none, so everyone please vote.
Gary Price,
Yes.
Jeff Murphy,
Yes.
anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carried 16 yes.
Number 4 on your agenda is to adjourn. I need a motion. Motion by Commissioner Arnold, second by Commissioner Miller. All in favor, say aye. Anyone opposed? We are adjourned.